Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the Gravity Cancel podcast. We're your hosts, Sergeant Spankcakes and Rox. Rox, how you doing tonight?
Not too bad. Got a Voodoo Ranger sitting in front of me, ready to go.
Of course. It's not Gravity Cancel without one.
So this is episode 20, and you know what that means.
We've made it way further than I thought we would.
That, and we have a new guest. So
we do.
I have a question for said guest. Sparky, was it a good night for gaming?
Haven't done too much gaming yet today, but I'm expecting it to be. I've had a nice little run of good nights for gaming. Pretty much one right after the other. So the gaming has been good lately, and that was after a very dry spell of having not a lot of gaming because I was busy from sun up to sundown, just working. Not a lot of twerking, not a lot of jerking all day. Didn't have a lot of time for gaming, so it was definitely like a month to 2 month period
That's
of
fair.
dry spells with no gaming. So now I'm back on it, and I'm coming back hard on it.
You know, speaking of your it was or was not a good night for gaming tweets, I noticed one time, and it was the only time that I'd seen it mentioned. One time you tweeted that it was a good night for gaming because you went flawless on Destiny 2 and Trials of Osiris. I had no idea you were a Destiny player.
Yes, sir. That's
Oh,
like
yeah.
the main game I'm playing now, and I've kind of been playing for
Yeah.
a while.
I plan on doing some Grandmaster Nightfalls after this podcast. So.
Yep, this
I'm
is
just
the
going
week
to
do
check
it.
myself out of this podcast because I don't have any clue what you guys are talking about.
That's okay. That was me for a while, and I don't know if you guys may or may not know Froned, who does stuff with Bagel now. He used to commentate Brawlhalla. He wears glasses, brown hair, real tall, fantastic voice for radio. If I could kill him and steal that voice, I might seriously consider it, even though he's a very dear friend of mine. But he got me into it. He is like, he has so much of an encyclopedic knowledge of like everything for Destiny, going all the way back to Destiny 1. And I always admire people who like know that much about like any given thing, even if I don't necessarily care about it. I think it's really cool when people are like that dedicated, know that much, and love one thing that much. So he was kind of like my arbiter through Destiny to get me into that. And now like that's the main game I put my time into.
See,
Did
that's
you
one
play
thing.
Destiny 1 as well?
Absolutely not. I thought that game was so stupid. There are definitely
Me too.
some old tweets of mine that are like, I don't know why people are still playing Destiny 1 in like whatever that year was that I tweeted it.
That's hilarious. See, I was the same way. I played like the Destiny 1 beta, and I was like, I'll just go back to the great game that's Halo 4. I'll just go play that instead. But the thing about Destiny 2 specifically is it is so difficult to get into if you're a new player because there's a bunch of content that got removed, put in the Destiny content vault, and the new light experience is what it's called whenever you're a newbie. It is not very friendly. A lot of stuff gets thrown at you. So me and a lot of my friends, mostly my friends, I'm not the most patient person in the world, but a lot of them, they like to do a lot of Sherpas. Like they'll do like LFGs looking for groups for Destiny 2 raids, and they'll specify like we're looking for 3 people that have never done this raid before. And
That's
they'll
definitely not me. I definitely don't want to do that, but we have done that before because we have like a group. I think we have a group of 6 people, but of course, like organizing 6 people to do one thing at any given time when everybody is on a different schedule in multiple different time zones. It's really difficult. So we've definitely done the LFG thing several times, and we've Sherped some people. It's not the worst experience in the world, but I'm definitely not someone who would actively look for that.
The craziest thing, and this is the last thing I'll talk about Destiny because Spankcakes is probably like, we're going to have to cut all this, aren't we? Not that we cut anything from this podcast, but just the other day, we were bored and we had 2 spots open for a raid, and there's this really busted matchmaking system. I already forgot what it's called, but it's to help like find people. It's matchmaking for raids. You have to take this goofy little oath that you won't leave, and you'll teach people yada yada yada. And it's so broken that like one night we sat in queue for like an hour and a half just talking, trying to find somebody. Nobody's in it. But we got 2 guys. Neither of them had mics. They were on console. We had to communicate through the game chat with our keyboards because for some reason they couldn't hear us. but they also couldn't type back. So we'd type out like a paragraph, how to do the encounter, and then we'd be like, all right, just teabag up and down if you understand.
What raid was it?
Last Wish, and then...
Oh my god, the most mechanically dense raid.
Yeah. I was like, maybe we should do this for Guard of Salvation, too. That'd be a blast.
Wow.
But anyway, back a little bit more on topic here. It's awesome to have you, Sparky. What'd you think of the invitation video I made?
Oh my goodness.
I thought it was super cute. I liked it a lot. The fact that I like when people put effort into things. Like, even if it's just like a minimal amount of effort, and even if it's not something that like I'm not even super interested in. Not to say that your attempt was either of those things, but I really like when people put effort into something instead of just like adding me on Twitter and say podcast win, which I still would have said yes if you did that. But I like when people put effort into stuff, and I like when people show their own confidence and creativity when they do anything. So I really appreciate it. I thought it was great.
I knew that episode 20 was coming up, and I was like, who should we have as a guest next? And, you know, I always had I've got a mental list, and you were probably the top on that list, and it was 4 a.m., and I may have had a couple of things to drink, had DaVinci Resolve open, an editing software, because I was supposed to be editing Showdowns, one of our YouTube series, but I wasn't feeling it, and I was like, I'm going to make an invitation video. And I was like, Sparky, that's who I'm going to send it to. And then I sent it to Spank Cakes the next morning. I was like, should I tweet this? Is this a bad idea?
I woke up for work, and the first thing I see on my phone is a message from Rox at 4 a.m. I'm like, this isn't going to be good. Like, this just is not going to be how I want to start my workday off. And I spent a minute and a half or whatever it was watching it, and I thought it would never work. But here we are. A couple weeks later, it worked. So...
well, we did come up with a couple of questions we'd like to ask. I'd like to hit you with the first one right now. How did you get started with casting, and do you cast any other games other than Brawlhalla? And
I do not. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I should have let you finish. I jumped the gun. I'm a little bit nervous.
See, I got way too confident because I read half the sentence and then looked to my other screen because I was like, I know what the rest of the question is. But it's, do you cast any other games, or would you like to cast other games in the future?
No. I don't cast any other games. I have no desire to cast any other games. I don't want to learn. I hate learning. I think learning is super cringe and boring and whack and stupid. So I don't want to learn any other game that would take time to learn. Even though I like other games, but I don't want to spend the time to learn that and be like bad at it for a while.
Yeah.
Not that I'm goated at Brawlhalla commentary by any means, but I'm at an acceptable level. I don't like to go through the grind. I'm not a grinder.
That's fair.
Like, whenever I first started watching the Brawlhalla live streams, probably like a year ago or something like that, and I actually sit down. I don't just pull up the stream to, get the free rewards. But I watch like the last hour or 2 hours of it. I'll sit down and have a good old time watching it. And at the beginning, I was like, I don't know what a nair is. I don't know exactly what a sair is. Don't know the difference. But I kept following along. Eventually got better at Brawlhalla. Me and Spancakes actually hosted a tournament not too long ago that we streamed. And we tried to commentate. And it was the worst experience ever. And I'm sure nobody enjoyed it. We were all over the place. We were like, yeah, there's a really good combo there. Yeah.
We had to just resort to talking about how good their drip was and their weapon choices. But it was horrible. I don't know how you get to an acceptable level of commentary such as yourself, but I'm not there and nowhere close to it.
Well, it's gonna be like the experience that you had. It's like that for a very long time. A very very long time. I've been doing this for like 5, 6 years, maybe even 7 years.
Wow.
Now I don't remember whether I started in 2015 or 2016. But yeah, like when Duke and I started, we were both absolute dog crap at commentary. It was I wouldn't want to go back and look at it, even if it's like, oh, humble beginnings, everybody starts somewhere. No, I don't think I could handle seeing that again. That would be very difficult, and it's like working a muscle. Like commentary, even just in general, social interaction is like a muscle, and you have to work it to get good at it. Nobody like picks up 50-pound dumbbells and starts cranking them out like that. You got to work at it. You got to start on the 5s and go to the 10s, 15s, so on and so forth. And you have to work at it. So, like, no one is incredible when they sit down on the mic for the first time. Maybe there are some out there, but I'm certainly not one of them. And they are definitely the outlier, the exception to the rule, and not the norm. So I got started the exact same way that y'all did. Duke and I knew Duke back in college when I was at UT, University of Texas at Austin. And we were a part of the student-run television network that was on campus at University of Texas. So I knew him in person for a while before Brawlhalla ever came into the picture. So we had a relationship going on from that then Brawlhalla came into, and we decided that we wanted to put on a tournament. So literally, like, we sat down and we're like, hey, why don't we do this? And the esports scene way back then was definitely not what it is right now. So us to be able to, like, put on a tournament and say, hey, we're going to commentate it, even though we had never done anything like that before, just because it was something esports-wise that existed with Brawlhalla, everyone was like, let's go, this is the greatest thing ever, this never happens. And, like, our prize pool was self-funded, and it was like $300.
All right.
It was
That's
like it was like all that we could scrape together at that time, and everyone was like, $300 playing video games? And man, it was definitely rough. It was definitely rough. The graphics we made were rough. Our commentary was rough. The production was rough. The gameplay back then, I mean, everyone was not as amazing at the game as they are now. There was no dash. There was no gravity cancel. There was none of that stuff. Even 2v2 as a game mode didn't exist in the way that we know it today. So in case you don't know your Brawlhalla history, which it's been many years, so you may not know.
No.
But back then, we were the first people to put on a 2v2 tournament, because the only way that 2v2 existed in the game was with friendly fire off. So it was like friendly twos, which everyone knows is a horrible experience. No fun at all. So we actually had to play free-for-all. And you would just choose a color to match your teammate. So if you wanted to be like the brown team, you would select the brown color. Your teammate would select the brown color. The other team would be like the yellow team, and both of them would select yellow. That's the only way we could play. We could have 4 people on the screen and have team damage be possible.
Wow.
So, I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but we essentially invented Brawlhalla 2v2 the way it is today. And the success of that and the enjoyment that people had with playing 2v2 via free-for-all and not friendly twos, that kind of made 2v2 into the main pillar in Brawlhalla esports that it is today. Of course, that also goes along with Foda being the team game man that he is. He's always a team game guy. Back when he was playing Bloodline Champions, all of that stuff. Like, he is definitely a fan of team games above all else.
Wow.
That is an awesome little history lesson.
Did UT Austin have, like, a local Brawlhalla scene? It existed all locally, or was this online?
This was all online.
Online.
And so, like, this was back when there were no... Were there EU servers? I don't know if there were EU servers. I know that there were not many EU players. And so, like, Daiku, his name was EXO at the time, he would just play on North American servers with all that lag.
Ugh.
And he would still win tournaments. Now, the game at that time was certainly different than it was today. Even lag was handled differently back then than it was today. Like, now it more favors the person who is not lagging, as you would think. But, like, back then, it was sort of more of a balance between, like, the person lagging will get some benefit that they might not normally have. So the game was old. It was old. There were clunky parts to it. There were great parts to it, of course. The netcode, I mean, it still worked. He could still play all the way from EU on North American servers and win tournaments. But, yeah, it was a Wild West back then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I tried it out like in 2015, 2016, and it just did not click with me. And then tried it out again in 19? And I was like, okay, I can vibe with this game. This is something I can have fun with now. But yeah, it's definitely evolved. That's for sure.
See, I started playing. Well, before Petra came out, I sat down in my living room and I was like, I want to play a game on the Switch, but I don't want to spend any money. So I started looking at free games on the Nintendo Switch. See Brawlhalla. I was like, oh, it's cool little art style. Tried to play it, and I was like, oh gosh, this is like Smash. I suck at Smash. I suck at fighting games. Dropped it. For some reason, booted it back up. Saw that Petra had just came out that day, and I was like, oh my gosh, who is this Dragon Ball Z inspired hottie I got right here in front of me? And then from then on, I just kept playing Brawlhalla. Loved it.
So, go
Oh,
ahead.
one quick thing before we go on, because I feel like this is a major backpedal. I had the biggest grin on my face whenever you said UT, so I gotta ask, you a Rooster Teeth fan at all?
No, not really. I just I was never like an early YouTube guy. I
Yeah.
never video content that was hosted on the web was never a part of my viewing wheelhouse, I guess. So
That's
Rooster
fair.
Teeth, I never really caught on for me. Like early YouTube, if you, I don't know who Ray William Johnson is. I know the name, but I don't know who that is. All of the like really, really old YouTube guys that were like huge back then, they were just never something I ever watched. I didn't even really start watching YouTube until like a year or two ago. I didn't start watching Twitch till a year or two ago. So I've been super late to the game on all of that. I do know Kyle Taylor. I can like put that feather in my cap.
I have no idea who Kyle
I don't
Taylor
either.
is.
Okay, I thought that was gonna ingratiate me with the host of this podcast. But he's a guy at Rooster Teeth that I overlapped with either 1 or 2 semesters at UT Austin, who worked at the student television network on the show that I did with Duke.
Oh,
Duke and
wow.
Winan actually know more of the people from Rooster Teeth just because they are older than I am. So like they know Kyle Taylor, they know Miles.
Oh, really?
I don't know Miles.
Miles is cool.
I don't know who else they know.
I was about to say, Sergeant, if you know the anime or animated series Ruby,
Yeah, I know.
he's
Ruby.
one of the writers, or one of the producers rather. Really cool guy.
I don't know much outside of Ruby other than it's an anime.
Yeah, that sounds about like you. This man doesn't watch anime. I keep trying to get him to, but he doesn't.
Hey, good choice, brother. I do
Thank
not
you,
watch
thank
anime
you.
either. I've seen like 5 different animes, and most of them were dog crap.
I'm with you there. I've tried and it doesn't click, you know. Different strokes for different folks. But Sparky, do you have any commentators that you draw inspiration from, or are you just self-created?
I don't watch a lot of esports. I feel like I'm the worst person in that like I do a thing, but then I don't consume that thing outside of like myself. So like I didn't have like an esports background whatsoever. Like if you talk to Taza's a big like StarCraft guy. He was a big League guy, so he'll talk your ear off about like Monte Cristo and Thorin and stuff names that I don't remember. And like StarCraft and probably some Dota stuff in there too. In terms of like commentators that I look up to, whenever Melee is happening, I'll watch Scar and Toph do top 8
yeah.
for Melee. I really love Scar and Toph, even though I know next to nothing about Melee. Like I know what Fox is and I know what a Shine is. That's about it. But I'll watch Scar and Toph because I like them together. And something that I've always held with me is like the biggest complaints about Scar and Toph that people have are like, "Ooh, they never talk about the game." So anytime anyone in chat says that about me, that's always been like water on the back of a duck. It just rolls right off. I don't care because at that point, hey, I'm imitating my heroes, Scar and Toph.
Yeah, you're like,
but
I finally
love
made
them.
it.
I love Sajam is this like god
Sajam, yeah.
for fighting game commentary. He's just wise, and it seems like everything he does is correct and smart. So I like him a lot, but I don't watch any fighting game commentary. I'm trying to think who else. Mostly, I do every now and then try to watch commentary of other things that aren't necessarily esports. Like, I try to bring whatever I'm currently enjoying into my commentary of esports. Like, there was a time where I was watching a lot of Top Gear, and I would bring references to Top Gear into my commentary, even though no one that watches Brawlhalla probably watches Top Gear in any like meaningful numbers. So really, I was just doing it for myself. But like, do any of you watch Top Gear?
Yeah. It's been a long while, but I watched
Yeah,
the
same here,
old
long
school
while.
Top Gear.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So you know Star in a reasonably priced car, right?
Mhm.
For those who are listening that don't know what that is, they take like a really crappy car, like a $7,000 car, and they put a celebrity in it, and it's part of like an interview process. Think like Hot Ones, but you're in a crappy car and you drive around the track, and so they ask them a couple questions, and then they go to their time on the track, and then there's this big leaderboard of like, okay, who was the fastest star in the reasonably priced car? So the commentary that Jeremy Clarkson would give on that segment, I would try to bring some of that and the ideas of that and the way he does that into my own commentary. So I'll also add that in there as sort of like an aside of, it's not necessarily Brawlhalla commentary, it's not fighting game commentary, it's not video game commentary, but I'll also see just like sports clips, even though I'm not a sports fan. I'll see sports clips on Twitter from other commentators who are like, oh my god, this commentary was so good. Like, I think there was an F1 clip that I retweeted not too long ago. And I really do like the art of commentary more than I like the thing that they are commentating about.
Yeah, when you find someone who just is a real like wordsmith with how they commentate and how they describe what's going on and can get it to people that may not know the ins and outs of whatever it is they're watching, it's a beautiful thing. It really is.
It's funny that, so I don't come from a fighting game background. I come from a first-person shooter. I was a Halo kid, right? So the only commentator that I ever knew the name of, before 2 years ago or so, was Chris Puckett, because he had the MLG Top 10 Halo clips of the day on ESPN, and I idolized that guy as a child so much. And then you guys are throwing out all these names from like Smash commentators and stuff. I don't even watch any sports other than tennis, and tennis doesn't have the hottest commentators out there, so all this is going straight over my head. But I'm glad that you guys can at least bounce off each other when it comes to that, because I am lost.
That's okay. I usually sit down on the desk with people and they make anime references. Goes over my head. If I'm sitting on the desk with like Zipmaster Flex, he'll make anime references and sports references, and that's just like, I want to be a better commentator so I can like give him something off of that, because he deserves someone who can be a yes-ander when he says something about anime or sports, and I just can't be that. And because we're gamers, everybody I sit down on the desk with knows about anime for some reason, and I'm the only one who doesn't. So that's always a tough spot to be in.
Here's the funniest part. So, the first question. Well, no, I'll bring it up. So, there was a secret question that I didn't plan. I didn't send you. That I told Spancake. So, like, put down at the bottom of the list. Because a while back, I remember you were watching. You were just watching through Naruto, and you were like live tweeting about it. So I was like, in my brain, I was like, oh, Sparky likes anime. Put a little check mark next to his name in my brain. So I had this question. Did you finish Naruto?
I finished, technically I finished like Naruto. I didn't look into Shippuden. I'm not about that.
I gotcha.
The only like Naruto I actually watched was like, there are lists online of like what is filler and what isn't. So I didn't watch any of the filler, which surprisingly, or maybe unsurprisingly, is
I didn't watch
a
any of the filler
significant chunk of the show. Like, there's not a lot of Naruto outside of the filler. So I finished all of the original series.
So me and my girl, so the biggest thing, and I'm not going to ramble too much about anime, since I'm the only anime guy here, but maybe somebody listening enjoys anime. Long story short, I had finished Naruto as a wee lad, and I was like, it's all right. I don't really like it, because now all my friends who I don't talk to anymore because of what they're doing now, they're Naruto running down the hallways wearing these stupid headbands. So I'm disassociating. This is 7th grade, right? I was like, I don't like Naruto. So a year or two ago, me and my friends were having a little soiree at the house. Oh gosh, no, it was probably like almost 3 years ago. This whole COVID.
Well, you called it a soiree, so it easily could be 57 years old.
But we got into a very heated debate over Dragon Ball Z versus Naruto. And long story short, I was like episode 2 of Dragon Ball Z. The weakest power level guys are flying around, blowing up planets with the strength of a fart, and Naruto can't touch that. We got into a big argument. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to watch all of Naruto just to argue that this anime's trash. Dragon Ball Z's better. There are plenty of other better animes out there. So me and my girlfriend Wesley watched through all of it. Essentially, the question was why you thought Ino was best girl when you had all these other girls. I even threw a Granny Chio reference in there, but you won't get that because you didn't watch Shippuden. So we'll let our 3 audience members have fun with that one.
Okay, that all went all over my head. But back to casting.
Ramble a lot.
Back to casting. Sparky, what was your favorite match you've casted?
That's a really tough question, not just because, there's so many great matches, but I don't have a great memory. My memory is very terrible. That's why I have to show up to the desk with a legal pad and spreadsheets, and that's not even just, to make me look good or be a smart man. That's just, to be able to be on the same level mentally as other people who can remember stuff. This is something I always idolized about Taza, was he would remember things so much better than I did. So that's when I started taking notes, was because I had to be able to be right there with him and remember those things as well. So this is I have a terrible memory. It's very bad. I don't remember things immediately after they come out of my mouth.
Same.
I forget events, I forget years, dates, things that happen. But in terms of favorite things I've done commentary for, if you can count, and I'll give an additional answer beyond this, but definitely the NA versus EU Pro Series Super Finals that happened at BCX, the last one before COVID, because I got to sit on the desk with Xavier Woods, who is the skin for Bodvar. And in case you didn't know this, or in case your viewers didn't know this, a long time ago, and really not that long, I kind of oversold that a little bit, but back in the day of Brawlhalla time, Xavier Woods started this YouTube show called Up Up Down Down, where he's a WWE wrestler, for those who don't know, and I had a huge phase where I was really into wrestling again as an adult. And so this must have been in maybe 2016, but I had direct messages to Raiden, who some people might not even know who that was because this was a while ago. It was the community manager for Brawlhalla. And so I had a Discord PM to him saying, hey, there's this YouTube show called Up Up Down Down. It has this wrestler in it that I really like. He's really funny. You need to get Brawlhalla on that show. And then, of course, in the wink, wink, nudge, nudge way, hey, and maybe fly me out to it and I can be on the show with him. I didn't have the relationship with BMG back then that I have now, but that would even be a tall ask now, of course. So being able to reach back to that moment and then see it happen later at BCX, where he was he was basically forced to sit next to me for an hour and a half while we did Brawlhalla commentary, and I just got to farm jokes and stuff. And so that that was a really surreal moment of he's a WWE wrestler. He has performed in front of hundreds of thousands of people in massive arenas that have been sold out. He's not Brad Pitt, but I mean still he's a celebrity. So I was able to sit down next to him and do commentary for an hour and a half. Come on, man, you can't beat that.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's definitely one of them. Another one, I'm trying to think. The real big ones. Because some of them start out really sick, and then. You've heard my commentary. I get biased real easy, especially if one of my friends is competing. I want them to win no matter what, and if they don't win, even if it's good Brawlhalla, I'll still be sad. So Low Tier City, back before COVID, when it was Boomy and Sandstorm in the finals on the massive stage at the esports arena in Arlington, Texas. That was the biggest stage we'd ever been on. It was so cool. All the screens that had effects and all the colors, and it was like a proper esports stage, which we had never really been on before.
Actually, remember watching that.
That was a really sick set. But also it was really hard to watch eventually because like Boomy was right there. And then it just started to slip away from him. And I have history with Boomy. I have much more history with Boomy than I do with Sandstorm, like in terms of not only just the time that they've spent in Brawlhalla, but like I have a relationship, a friendship with Boomy where he's taught me so much about Brawlhalla. I've learned so much about the game from him specifically, personally, which is amazing. That's awesome. So like that was such an interesting moment because we were like, okay, is this going to be the time? Not only is Sandstorm going to be defeated, which would have been huge, but the fact that it was like Boomy, the guy who's been like living in Sandstorm's shadow for so long. Like we always talk about Boomy as being one of the best 1v1, of course one of the best 2v2 players as well. Like he was one of the best 1v1 players when LDZ was winning Worlds. And then all of a sudden when LDZ takes a step back, it's like, okay, Boomy's up next. Definitely for sure Boomy is the one up next. And all of a sudden Sandstorm comes in and he's the guy up next. And so it was like I've still been searching for this moment for so long to finally see Boomy get that gold medal in like a more meaningful manner than just like winning a winter championship where Sandstorm comes in 13th. So that's probably one of my favorite sets just because of the content, like the emotion that was involved there, and then being able to be at the esports arena in Arlington with like 3 like broadcast television cameras pointed at me, multiple people manning them, sitting at like a proper broadcast desk in that arena with the stage behind us, sitting next to Duke, who's my best friend in the world that I've known for like 10 or 11 years now. That's probably one of the best moments as well.
Wow. Yeah, I can imagine like just the raw emotion that seeing Boomy and coming that close to victory, that'd be tough to beat.
That kind of makes me want to ask, would you say, obviously your nerves were probably not, you're probably a little on edge whenever you were casting that. Would you say that having a close friend like Duke there with you helped calm your nerves? Because I feel like that would, other than just like a coworker in a tense situation, a good friend like that would probably help a lot.
Oh yeah, it's definitely helpful because I know that I like being able to sit on the desk with somebody that I trust, and that trust, it can actually be really easy to obtain for like Tazza. It was really easy to obtain the trust in Tazza because Tazza, like, if you've heard Tazza commentary from back in the day, even Tazza commentary today, he likes to talk, which, hey, I love that. I think that's
He's
fantastic.
So passionate.
That makes me feel like if I ever run out of things to say, Tazza will have something to say, and that's the trust that I'm talking about. It's like whenever I'm ready to pass the ball or hand off the ball, or even if I drop the ball, I know that Tazza has something to say, so I'm not just sitting there with my hands in the air saying, okay, your turn. But like with Duke, it's at a different level. Duke doesn't talk as much as Tazza does. I think between me and Duke, I'm probably the longer talker. Also, I have a very rough time like forming coherent thoughts in a really compact package. So you'll hear me talk for a long time because I'll start something and then I'll figure out where it's going halfway, 2/3 of the way through the sentence, and then I'll get there. But with Duke, it's like we're close on a personal level that if I crack a joke, Duke is there to either understand in the moment whether that joke needs to be built off of, whether we need to move away from that joke onto maybe what's actually happening, or whether we can kind of keep going on it. If I crack a joke with Tazza, he doesn't know what to do. So he'll no-sell me on so many jokes where I'll let one rip and he'll just like sit there and silently laugh looking at me. And he doesn't know where to go with it. So that's become like a game where if I'm on the desk with Tazza, my goal is to say something that he has no idea what to do with. And so he'll just sit there and try to figure out what to do. So definitely having Duke there in that moment, not only having like a friend next to me, but also a commentator I trust to be able to say something. If I run out of something to say, he'll feed me things to say. He'll bring up a salient point that I can then build off of in case I didn't have anything that I was ready to start with. So yeah, it definitely feels great having someone next to you that not only is your friend and knows, and you know that they want you to succeed because you also want them to succeed, but then also someone that you can trust in sort of a commentator fashion.
That's awesome. Every question we hit you with, we get so much more than I expected.
Yeah.
Not that I expected just a little bit, like just enough, but you're just smashing all these questions out of the park. Which leads me to the next one. You know, you talked about Boomy's taught you a lot about the game in general. You know, you're not just a caster, but you know you play Brawlhalla as well. So you know, if there's one thing you could change about competitive Brawlhalla, what would it be? And why is it removing Lance?
Personally, I don't really care that much about Lance. I think everybody who cries about Lance is a big old baby. We need to be focusing on the real problem. We're not looking at Hammer and we're not looking at Axe, and we need to be. That's the problem.
Don't touch my Axe, please.
It's not us versus Lance. It's everyone versus Axe and Hammer. They are the real problems. But if you're talking about what things we would change about Brawlhalla, I'm not a game designer, so my biggest thought about things to change with Brawlhalla, and this is sort of like anti to what Brawlhalla kind of is it kind of wants to, how do I put this? It wants to kind of establish itself apart from Super Smash Brothers, which obviously I understand the reason for wanting to do that. It's meant to be its own unique thing, obviously with the weapons, the way they are with signatures, so on and so forth. There are so many things that differentiate it from Smash, but if I was going to change one thing about Brawlhalla, I would start to appeal to Super Smash Brothers more. Because I think over the years, there have been steps that have been avoided because it's too similar to Smash Brothers. One thing being like damage numbers being on the screen. Mm-hmm. That's sort of a Smash thing, right? We don't want people to look at Brawlhalla and think it's Super Smash Brothers, which again, from a game design standpoint, from a business standpoint, I totally understand that.
Yeah, it's one of those double-edged swords because like I've met people that love Brawlhalla, but they really dislike Smash, and what they dislike about Smash they don't find in Brawlhalla. And then also I've met people that are like, oh, this is just generic Smash, and of course then I hit them with the 1-2, and you know, I hit them, they hit the floor, and then I steal their debit card. But
a classic move, very effective. But yeah, I think if we appealed more to Smash, and I mean with like a couple of quality of life features, I think by pretending that Super Smash Brothers isn't there, I think we're doing Brawlhalla a disservice in the long run. And I think this lends more of itself to like marketing than gameplay mechanics, right? I don't want them to necessarily add like Smash DI or a final Smash or anything like simple, like a checkbox that you can do like that. But damage numbers is one of them. And then also courting Smash players. And that's sort of a strange thing to say given the current climate and what happened in the Smash community. But let me explain. Is finding those Smash content creators and introducing Brawlhalla to them in a way where they can understand the differences and maybe come to respect the differences. Mm-hmm. So that's like going to Genesis. I don't know if y'all are aware, but Genesis is like one of the biggest Smash tournaments. That's sort of like the quote-unquote culmination of the scene. If you win Genesis, that's probably one of the biggest tournaments you can probably win if we're looking at Melee. I don't know if Ultimate's any different, but in terms of like looking at Melee. So it would be getting into Genesis to show Smash players what Brawlhalla is. It's getting into the Big House, or maybe getting involved with like Smash Summit or something like that to sort of extend that olive branch. Now, a lot of Smash players are ignorant of Brawlhalla, just like there are a lot of Brawlhalla players who are ignorant of Smash and say, oh, Brawlhalla is way better, Smash sucks. But I think by like extending that outward and sort of introducing Smash players to Brawlhalla rather than just like having Brawlhalla exist over here and hoping that a Smash player looks at it. Like, when it comes down to like marketing things, of course, Twitch is huge right now. We've seen games live and die by who is playing it on Twitch television. Oh, yeah. So my big thing would be, again, to extend that olive branch and like have Mango play Brawlhalla. And don't just be like, hey, Mango, here's $10,000. Play Brawlhalla for an hour. Go nuts, kid. But to maybe introduce it to them, teach it to them, have them go in with an understanding of what it is. Like at one point, Nairo, which of course that's a cursed name now, but Nairo was playing Brawlhalla, and he played it like 4 or 5 different times, and like everybody from the Brawlhalla community, this was before everything happened with Nairo, of course, went into his stream, and we watched Nairo and Gunblade play it, and they were having a blast, and it was awesome, and it was sort of this melding of 2 communities, and it was really cool. I want to see more things happen like that, and more like purposeful reaching out from Brawlhalla over into those communities like that. And then another way, I don't know if this is more than what you wanted, but like we have TK Breezy on the desk now, which is fantastic. Of course, he's a very seasoned commentator. He's easy to commentate with because he's so experienced. He's done this way longer than I have. He's done it at way higher profile events than I have. So getting to sit next to him is a huge privilege, and that's sort of like an olive branch that comes over from Smash, in this case Ultimate, into Brawlhalla. I also want to get someone like Vicky Kitty from Smash on the desk with Brawlhalla, because one thing, I probably should have mentioned her earlier in terms of commentators I look up to, but Vicky Kitty is probably one of the best commentators I've ever seen, who really respects the game that they're commentating, no matter what the game is. She's kind of like one of Nintendo's go-to people for Nintendo's like flagship events, where they'll have like Smash Ultimate and Splatoon, right? So it'll be like Vicky Kitty and then another cursed name, unfortunately, D1, and I can't remember his name. It's Jordan. I always want to call him Jordan Belfort, but that's the guy from Wolf of Wall Street who did a lot of bank fraud, so it's definitely not him, but his first name is Jordan. But Vicky Kitty is always the person who shows up with like a suite of notes on like Splatoon. And she's not a goated Splatoon player. She's not on stream playing Splatoon every day. She's not a Splatoon streamer, but she shows a lot of respect for that game, whatever game she's doing, whether that's Ultimate, whether that's Splatoon, whether that's Overwatch. She does commentary for Overwatch. I think it's called Contenders League, and I think she would be such an incredible person, even if it was just for one event, to get Vicky on the desk, because I know she would come into Brawlhalla with a purely open mind. She would come in prepared, and she would like dedicate time and resources and brain power and respect to giving Brawlhalla its day in the sun that I think very few others from Smash would do. TK Breezy does a great job. Like, he'll play it on stream, and that's fantastic. I love to see that from TK. I love to hear the way he talks about Brawlhalla as well. I think if we got Vicky Kitty, that would be huge for sort of that bridge between the two worlds.
So do you think it's more of like, outside of the gameplay aspect of Brawlhalla, to get Smash players over, it's bring over the big personalities and the notable names?
Yeah, definitely. I think if we can get more people looking at Brawlhalla with an open mind, instead of like they go in with their Smash colored glasses on and everything, then they're trying to do what they do in Smash Brothers, and a lot of that will not work in Brawlhalla. So they're like, well, this isn't controlling the way that I want it to, rather than being like, okay, well, this is how Brawlhalla controls, not, well, this is what I do in Smash. How do I do that here?
Right.
That's probably a longer answer than y'all wanted, and I know all over the place.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's a completely different direction than I expected. I expected like, oh, make it so you can like, dash faster or something. I don't know, something lame.
Add Mario.
Yeah, add Mario. When's
Mario
the Nintendo crossover?
But no, really, if it was to boil down to one thing, it would probably be to add in Margot Robbie into the game so that I could then be on the desk with Margot Robbie for an hour and a half, and she's just kind of captive audience and has to sit next to me for an hour and a half.
Listening to you just pop jokes.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. I've definitely not laughed this much during a podcast recording, which of course this is only episode 20, so we hopefully have a long way to go.
We made it further than Costa looks, okay?
The hashtag Freeload podcast. We mean that in the most lighthearted way.
Yeah.
I really wanted a crossover, but Costlix won't reply to me on Twitter, dog. But
That's messed up. He's got a blue check. Like, what are you gonna do? You can never get a hold of those blue checks.
Yeah.
But when it comes to laughter, when it comes to Brawlhalla streams and even on Twitter, Brawlhalla Twitter, you pretty much reign supreme as the jokester, the funny guy, the best shit poster on Twitter, especially when it comes to Brawlhalla Twitter. So I just want to know who your top comedians are.
That's a good question. That's actually a really good question. I'm listing banned people today, so I'm gonna just keep that going. Louis C.K. Everybody, Louis C.K. Of course, obviously, all of the horrible things he's done. Let's push that aside for just a moment, because his television show Louis, that was on FX, was an incredible show. Unfortunately, it was taken off. Well, I guess fortunately, it was taken off a lot of streaming platforms shortly after it came to light the horrible things that he did. But I mean, Louis C.K. At the end of the day, Louis C.K. is just funny. I think he's funny. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
I could respect that.
Who else? I really love Tina Fey.
Tina Fey, all right.
Love Tina Fey. 30 Rock is definitely one of my top 5 shows. Might be even a top 3 show. I probably watched through all of it 5, 6, maybe 7 times, and that show is just so funny. The writing on it is incredible. Tina Fey's acting on it is incredible. I love when a comedian can make the joke and then also be part of the joke so well, and I think Tina Fey does that so heavily in that show, and she does such a good job of it, where she is just constantly the butt of the joke always, and she plays it so well. I love Tina Fey. I love Amy Poehler as well, sort of like she's the other to Tina Fey. Parks and Recreation, again, another one of my favorite shows out there. I think everyone loves Chris Pratt on that show, even though Chris Pratt is people are kind of over with Chris Pratt now.
Yeah.
But back then, he does such a great job on that show. But I think Amy Poehler doesn't get the credit that she deserves for the character that she has just completely dove into and helped create on that show. Let's see, other comedians. I'm going to point to someone who isn't necessarily a comedian, but Slime. He is a Smash commentator for Melee. If you know who Ludwig Ogren is, he's sort of a larger name that some might know. If you pay attention to Ludwig very much at all, you might see Slime. He is sort of Ludwig's best friend. He's bald, so we have that connection. I think the way that Slime is able to look at comedy and sort of dissect it really well. He can laugh at farts because farts are funny, but he can also dissect more complicated comedy. He used to do a meme review, and I'm not talking PewDiePie meme review, where he'll just watch a YouTube video and be like, good meme, 9 out of 10. But he used to do on his stream, way back in the day, he would do meme reviews where he would watch a video, he would break it down, be like, okay, in the world of comedy, this is why this is funny. This borrows this trope from comedy. This is this style of comedy. These are the tools that make this thing funny. And watching him do that made me look at comedy in a much more technical manner than I used to.
Than just making the joke. It made you think about why you're making it.
I'm actually kind of surprised we didn't bring this up earlier, but old Spank Cakes here is also a BBM. Bald, beautiful man.
Oh, word?
Yeah, I am. So I actually had a surprise question for you as well, and you've kind of popped both of those Easter eggs for both me and Rox.
I was also going to say I'm also fighting a losing battle.
Hey, solidarity, brother. I'm right there with you.
Yep. What is your shaving routine to get that crispy, smooth, shiny head?
Clippers. It's literally just clippers.
Clippers, really?
Yeah, I'm not about that. Actually, with a razor, I don't got that time. I'm not trying to sit there for 20 minutes, possibly cut my head. I did it one time. I cut my head all up. It was very uncomfortable. I didn't like it. So yeah, I just take the guard off and just rip some clippers on my head.
Hey, completely respectable. I have a full blow routine, but man, it does take time. It does take time. The head blade, it's like a little Hot Wheel with a razor on it. It's the best thing ever for a smooth head. And Cremo shaving cream, it's super cheap. I don't know what chemicals are in it, and I'm a chemist. I don't know what chemicals are in it, and I don't need to know. I just know it works.
I mean, what are their chemicals going to do? Make you go bald? I mean,
Right, exactly.
Uh-oh.
Well, you just saved me the trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Give you cancer? Okay, well, literally everything will do that. You just can't do anything if you're worried about that.
And that'll probably make me bald too, so chemotherapy, right?
Exactly. It all goes to the same end.
Right.
See, the worst thing is I feel like I've shaved my head in the past, and I feel like this was way before the balding, but I felt like I looked pretty good with a shaved head. But now I'm in the phase, because I'm 28, or I'm 27, turned 28 in May. I'm in that phase that every guy goes through where they think they look really good with a mustache. But here's the thing. Shaved head and a mustache on me is an absolute no-go. I look good with one or the other. Can't be both.
I don't think anybody looks good with a shaved head and just a mustache.
No,
Here's the thing.
No.
I can't
no
grow
one
a
has
full
ever...
beard, though. Like,
Ooh, that's brutal.
I got the goatee. I have the strongest Chuck Norris goatee you can imagine if I want to grow it up. The sides, though, nope, not at all. I look like I'm 15 on the sides.
That's tough. That's
it's
tough.
Yeah, you just weren't meant to be bald. I mean, some people just have to accept it. At some point in their life, they just weren't meant to be bald.
I had to accept going bald at like 23.
Yeah, that was
Maybe even before that. I went bald super early.
Yeah, you just look in the mirror one day and you're like, today's the day. And I think everyone should have that day. Maybe not out of necessity, but just to feel the liberation of being bald.
Yeah, once you kind of rip it and you realize that that's just like the future, then it is definitely liberating. I think you're exactly right of like knowing, okay, well this is like the t-shirt that I'm going to wear for the rest of my life. But there's literally nothing I can do about it at this point.
Yep. Some fates just have to be accepted, and I own it, and it's good to know that we have some solidarity there.
Yes, sir.
So, speaking of completely not bald people, you have...
we hate them.
Yeah, I know. And really, really bad beards. But you have a speedrunning record.
Yes, sir.
For Duck Dynasty. And I'm not talking like seconds. It's like 15 minutes, right? 15 minutes ahead of the second place.
People are going to think I paid you to ask this question.
No, I saw that.
When I saw it on the list, I was like, where the hell did he pull this question from?
It's on it's on his Twitter headline.
Yes, sir. I'm very proud of this. And people do not give me the credit that I deserve because only 2 other people speedrun this game. But they don't understand that I did all of the things that a professional speedrunner can do in this game. Not only did I get the world record, proving I'm one of the world's fastest gamers, not only have I kept the record because I am one of the world's fastest gamers, but I also introduced and discovered my own technology in the game. I bet your favorite speedrunner out there, I don't mean you two, but I mean the listeners. I bet their favorite speedrunners out there, I bet very few of them actually introduced technology into the game that affected the world record speedrun. And I didn't just do one thing. I did 2.
So
the fact that you went full on caster mode for that, I had my hands the whole time laughing. That was amazing.
Why
Do you have this on YouTube? Like, is there somewhere I could watch this speedrun?
There should be a Twitch. Hold on, let me go to speedrun.com right now. And the funny thing is I regularly go to speedrun.com just to see that I still have the record, and I always probably break into like a hot sweat while I'm typing in speedrun.com just because I'm so afraid that I'm going to lose something this important to my overall personality and being.
So,
most people do that when they check their bank account on their phone, but he's speedrunner.com.
I'm less worried about that than I am about this stupid world record for whatever reason.
You're like, identity theft? It's a Tuesday. But breaking the record that you've held, how long have you held the record for?
5 years, baby.
5 years. That's longer than, most people are at a job nowadays.
True.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, the Super Mario 64 16-star world record was just beaten, like, again, a couple days ago. They're not as good at speedrunning as I am.
So why did you fall on Duck Dynasty?
Honestly, I legitimately don't even really know. It was in my Steam library for a while, and why I purchased it, I also don't really know. I think that, again, this goes back to me not having a very good memory, but I think it goes back to when I used to stream. And I think it was like advertised somewhere, maybe it was on like the Steam front page or something, and I thought like it would be funny as a meme to get Duck Dynasty and play it on stream because like what is it gonna be? Who knows what this game is? It would probably be funny to just play through it. So I think I originally did that, and I originally beat it, and then I don't even know how I came back to it. I really don't. I think I was like looking at something to speedrun because I thought it was pretty cool. And I was probably looking down my Steam list to be like, okay, what's something weird that I could do well in? Because like, okay, what am I going to do? Speedrun Mario 64? I'm actually going to have to learn how to play a video game really well. And the people who play Mario 64 are incredible gamers. It's literally the most competitive speed game of all time. So I think I was going through and I would like look at my Steam library and like pick a game, then look it up on speedrun.com and see how many runs there were for it, how long the run was, and how difficult it would be for me to like get a halfway decent time. So somehow I landed on Duck Dynasty that I already had in my Steam library from a previous time. And
That's
so I
amazing.
ended up looking that one up, and there were only 2 other runs with it. Now they were 3-hour runs, which like that's a pretty long time.
Yeah.
To just sit down and play one game. So I'm trying to remember. I ended up like watching his run, and it was basically just he was just playing the video game. Like he wasn't doing anything super special. There were no glitches. There were no bugs that he exploited. There was really nothing special about it. He was just playing the game as quickly as he could. So that's when like I dug up the game. It was like, okay, I probably have a better PC than he did at the time. So I loaded it onto the SSD right away. And this was back when I had like a laughably small SSD because I was broke as a joke. And I loaded it on the SSD and was like, okay, that's step 1. That's going to get me some time above him because SSDs are still pretty expensive now because they're reasonably new. So he probably didn't have an SSD. That's going to give me something right there. So then I went through it, and I think initially I just tried to like hunt for bugs. I tried to like clip through stuff. You can drive a truck in it. I tried to drive a truck to a strange part because a lot of the game is like, okay, well, you go from this area all the way up to the top of the map and you do a mission up here, and then you got to go all the way to the left side of the map and do a mission here. So I was trying to like clip through walls to find a quicker way between anywhere because that would like basically give me the run right there. That would be free. Once I figured that out, he didn't have any of that. So there was nothing there. That game was pretty much locked up tight.
Wow.
There's this like one area where you can glitch the pickup truck like halfway below the ground level, but I probably sat there for a couple hours and couldn't actually do anything with it. So nothing on that front. Then what happened was at one point I also wanted to speedrun Dark Souls. Ooh. And I got like maybe an hour and a half in Dark Souls, which again, like it's really not an impressive time whatsoever if you know anything about Dark Souls speedruns.
Yeah, there's a guy, John Smith. He used to work for Funhouse, the California office of Rooster Teeth. He left Funhouse to be a full-time streamer, and that's what he does on every Saturday. He speed runs Dark Souls, and the stuff that he does in that game is mind-blowing. It's ridiculous. And he's not even
I love
near
Dark
the
Souls
top.
speedruns. That was like the first probably speedrun that I ever really watched and cared about. And the speedrun of that game made me want to play that game for the first part. Because I think I had it on like Xbox or something, and it was too hard, and I was a bad gamer. But then watching the speedrun, I was like, okay, I can do this just way slower. And so that actually got me into Dark Souls. And Dark Souls was one of the games I was going to try and speedrun. But again, it was like, dude, this is hard. This is really, really hard to speedrun. So that's what made me move away from that into eventually Duck Dynasty. But one of the things that you do is you save and quit several different times to get back to the main menu. You then load the game, and that lets you skip some areas. So that was the first piece of technology that I introduced into this speedrun. So if, like, you're in the top of the map and you need to get down to the bottom of the map, the sort of like home, quote unquote, where all the characters live and where like the house is of the Robertson family in the video game, is sort of centralized in the map. So if you're up in the top and you need to get down to the bottom, the game will just have you just drive all that way. So by saving and quitting and then loading, it always loaded you back into that main central home, so you could skip at least half of that distance to your next target, which saved a lot of time. So that was the first piece of technology. That's just sort of generic speedrun technology that you do in a lot of different games. I mean, you do that in Mario to actually get back to the main lobby before you go into to do BLJs. And you do that in Dark Souls. So that was sort of something that I adapted from other games into this game. The other piece, and this is it's really not that cool, but I'll always pat myself on the back for this. It's in this, so the game has stealth sections, quote unquote, stealth sections where you're playing as like the character that you're playing as. His name's like Luke. Yeah, his name's Luke. And you have to like sneak through the warehouse where they make all the duck calls or whatever that they make in the television show. So there are sections where there's bubble wrap on the floor, and I think also glass in some sections. And if you walk too fast on the bubble wrap, you wake up some of the other Robertson family members that will then be like, hey, you're not supposed to be there, get out. So what I did was I noticed that there's like a startup animation when you are going from completely standing still to moving. And that startup animation actually has you moving faster than when you are actually moving at quote-unquote full speed. And I can't remember, I don't know if you make any noise when you do that either. Let's just say that you do make noise. But still, so what I would do during that is on those sections where you were stuck on the bubble wrap, no, I think you don't make noise. It's been so long. Is I would do that sort of, like I would press the button to move forward, and then I would let go of it. And then I would press it again and then let go of it. And you would do that quickly, so you never technically got to that like full speed where you were making the noise that would wake up the guards. But you were actually moving faster in that startup animation. So it would be like press forward, release, press forward, release, press forward, release, press forward, release. And you would sort of scoot across the map quicker than you would be going at full speed. And it allows you to not have to stop while the guards sort of like wake up for a second and go, oh, wait, hey, what? Is there anything there? No, I guess not. And then they go back to sleep, right? So this was my way of getting through it. I called it the Luke Scoot. I probably should have called it the Spark Scoot or the Spark Skip to name it after myself, but in the end, it really doesn't matter. But that was the other piece of technology that I introduced into that game that actually saved a significant amount of time. So with those two things, that allowed me to shave 20 minutes off the speedrun, and I could even shave more time off. There was one mistake that I made that probably cost me like 9 minutes, unfortunately. Because there was one time where you're at the top of the map, you finish one like mini game, it was like a boat race or hunting, and then you needed to go to like another one that was pretty much right near you. So I accidentally just autopiloted, and I finished the first activity, and then I saved and quit and loaded back in. Oh. That loaded me back into the home. I then had to make my way back out there, and I had to do that again, which was a bummer.
Well, if anyone makes a threat to your time, it sounds like you got a plan.
The good thing with that is, and honestly, one of the reasons I'm worried every time I go to speedrun.com is because I'm worried someone will beat it out of spite. Because honestly, it'd be really funny. Like, it would hurt, but it would be so funny.
I can't say I haven't mulled that over in my head over the last 15 hours. But
one thing that does keep people from doing that is you can't buy the game on Steam anymore.
I know. I looked it up and I was like, no.
you have to buy like a disc copy of it, which one, who has a disc drive anymore?
Right.
And two, you have to pay like $60 for it. So I think for the most part, I don't think anyone's really going to break it, but I am constantly worried that somebody will do it out of spite.
I feel like we're missing a huge part of this conversation. Spaycakes, I don't know if you actually pulled up the website and started watching the submitted 2 hour and 44 minutes 36 seconds.
Oh yeah, it's on there. That's originally how we ended up getting here. The run is on there.
Well, no, it's this part right here. It's the fact that you are in full camo. And,
No way.
And I'm pretty sure you have green face paint on. Either that or my graphics card's going out.
I have green face paint and brown face paint. In the little kit that I bought at like Academy or Cabela's or whatever, it did have black, but no,
Understandable.
Sir.
Understandable.
Like I ain't going there. I can make do with two colors.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was it was Academy. It was like Academy in College Station, and I ended up going to the Academy to get that because I thought it would be really funny, which it was. And I bought like a camo shirt, I bought the camo hat that I'm wearing in it, and I bought the face paint. And I remember checking out, and the person checking me out was like, "Oh, you must be going hunting." And I just looked at her and smiled and was like, "Yep." It's definitely that normal activity and not something really lame and stupid.
Hunting for a new world record.
Yes, sir.
Oh wow, that was a trip, man. Holy cow.
Oh my gosh. I fall asleep to Twitch VODs all the time. I have definitely bookmarked this page. I will be watching the entire almost 3 hours worth.
It's long. It's very long.
I want to say I randomly jumped into I throw following you. I think is the random spot that I jumped into.
Oh yeah, I probably, if I was a professional speedrunner, I think a lot of them just turn off the follow alerts.
Too distracting.
Don't want any distractions.
But I'm not a professional speedrunner. I'm just one of the best in the world.
So, completely flipping the script and getting away from speedruns, you also had a YouTube show called Spitfire. And,
yes, sir.
It's not still ongoing, is it?
It will be once land starts back up.
All right.
If that ever happens, like I've been waiting to violently get diarrhea at an event for a very long time now.
So, what's your favorite hot sauce, and drums or flats?
Do you mean hot sauce as in like in general or in the lineup that I do on the show?
Why not both?
Okay. In general, my favorite hot sauce is sriracha.
Okay.
I think it's
classic.
A nice level of heat. Yeah, it's classic. I feel like it's also an easy answer. I hope people don't think I'm copping out by choosing that one, but it's just so easy. You can get it in a nice big old bottle. The flavor is good. It has enough heat to sort of give you that little twinge, but it doesn't make you cry. It's just an acceptable level of heat with a fantastic flavor, which I really appreciate. On the show, ooh, that's a tough one. Honestly, I haven't even thought about the lineup in a very long time. Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm going to have to remember some names here. Los Calientes was always really nice. It was sort of like right in the middle. That was one of the official First We Feast Hot Ones sauces that they released themselves. That was really nice. It had a nice little sweetness to it. I don't normally like too much sweetness in my actual entree food. I love candy and I love dessert, but I don't really like too much sweetness in my food. But it was a nice little bit of sweetness that just sort of hit right in the middle. It was a little bit surprising in terms of heat because it sort of came in on the back end, but I really like that sauce as well. It was sort of I think it was sauce 5, maybe? It was 4 or 5.
There is there's a card game. It's kind of that Cards Against Humanity style game that Hot Ones came out with. Truth or Dab. I don't know if you've got it.
I don't have it, but I've seen it on YouTube.
It's awesome. Me and my friends play it all the time, and we played it once with the sauce, and it's essentially just truth or dare. And if you don't decide to tell the truth about the question, you got to take a dab of the hot sauce. And it's the last dab that they use on the show.
Oof.
And it will burn you up. But to trick them into playing the game again, because the questions are really fun. like Cards Against Humanity gets so stale. I was a board game designer for a hot minute. So like I look down on Cards Against Humanity because like it's everyone's favorite party game. Like, listen, man, you can only play Daniel Radcliffe's penis card so many times before it stops being funny.
Oh, I totally agree with you. It's like everything you put down, it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then
it's like instead of going to the mall, I would rather eat poop.
And oh my,
sick one, dude. Nice, brother.
And here's the worst part. Whenever you have a bunch of people over, and it's not necessarily just like your main crew. Maybe your girl has a couple people over, or just your friends bring some friends, and you play the perfect combination. The entire room erupts in laughter. And then the judge for that round reads one, and like two people like giggle a little bit, and then they're like, "Oh, I love this one. This one's cute. This one wins." What are you talking about? The whole room exploded whenever I played.
Yeah, people just don't understand comedy. They don't know what's funny. No, people are bad.
But anyway, the Truth or Dab game, the questions, genuinely enjoyable game to play. We'll even play it. Sometimes we'll just break it out as conversation starter. But I tricked them recently. I got the Death Nut set, a bunch of little bags, one labeled 1 to 5 with a bunch of peanuts. I like spicy food. I couldn't get past the first peanut. It was insane. You should definitely check both those things out though. If you're a big.
Oh, I will for sure.
There's my.
I've wanted to do one chip challenge.
Yeah,
that as well.
I've heard that one's pretty brutal. I haven't got around to it myself, but. And then the second part of the question was drums or flats.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna be a little bit controversial here. And I'm gonna say boneless.
All right, I respect that.
I'm a boneless guy, and the immediate retort to that is always, "But they're just chicken nuggets." Like,
no, they're not.
Oh no,
no, they're not.
So who cares? Even if they are, who cares? It's chicken in a delicious sauce, dipped in ranch. Like I don't need the bones. Yeah. I'm not even really there for the chicken that much. The chicken is just a sauce delivery device and a ranch delivery device.
Exactly.
So. Boneless is so easy to eat. You don't have to worry about your fingers getting all nasty. You don't have to worry about your fingers smelling bad, your hands smelling bad. You don't have to worry about all the mess on your face that is inevitably going to get sticky there for the rest of the day. You don't got to worry about anything on your shirt. If you have to get up and go to the bathroom, it's not a whole thing. You eat boneless wings with a fork, dip them in ranch, and you're going to have a good time.
See, that is why I go boneless a lot, but at the end of the day, when it comes to flats versus drums, flats all day, baby.
Thank you.
Oh, so much.
You know what? I'm actually sold on boneless now. I don't know why I didn't include that, but yeah, I'm sold on boneless. But flats take second place for me now. So
flats definitely taste better, but they're also more work.
Yeah.
I'm not a big work guy.
Depending on the restaurant, it's not really worth it sometimes.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's like you kind of got to get in there. You got to break the bones in half. There's, again, more mess on the face. So in terms of flavor, like, absolutely, flats are hugely superior to drums all day. I'll die on that hill. But drums are also so much easier to eat, but they have a lot of sometimes yucky cartilage on the top. And I'll clean my wings, but, like, I'm not chewing every single piece of cartilage off. That's just a little bit weird.
Hard agree on that one.
All right,
so
Rob,
I have a really stupid question. Listen, I had a list of. I've got this big fancy paper roller and a bunch of glass pens. I'm into calligraphy, and one night I was just listening to some Powerwolf as a man does on blast, late in the AM, thinking up some questions, and. This one really stupid question stood out to me. Listen, I had like 20 to 30 questions written down, and I scrapped almost all of them. But this one, for some reason, stuck. I think Spankcakes just really liked it. Would you rather fight one horse-sized boomy or 100 duck-sized sandstorms?
I don't really know that much about either's fighting ability, but actually, I don't even know how tall Boomy is anymore. Because I know he's certainly gotten taller.
But probably not horse-sized.
No, definitely not horse-sized. Definitely the 100. Was it 100 duck-sized sandstorms?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what are they going to do? They're gonna try and mob me. One kick, and I'm at least knocking 30 of them away.
Just wait until they pull out 100 toothpick-sized scythes.
I'm not even worried. I live in Louisiana, so like I got waist-high boots that will repel a snake bite. So I'm not really worried about what he's gonna be doing. He's getting punted across the room. I don't think Sandstorm is that much of a fighter. Like, look at his hair. No man that knows how to fight has a haircut like that. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to go with the 100 duck-sized Sandstorms. That's free.
You gotta, I mean, just watch one of Sandstorm's streams. You can tell this guy he's never one to get into a fight. He's just laid back, real chill. No reason to fight him. No reason for him to fight you. Boomy, though, I feel like Boomy's a scrapper. I bet he's got like a little teenage fight club out back somewhere. Wherever he lives. I don't know what state Boomy's from, but I'm sure somewhere in his neck of the woods there's a little teenage fight club going around.
He's definitely gotten taller over the years for sure. I mean, like humans do, but he certainly has gotten quite a bit taller than he used to be. So I think he can probably keep up with me size. Like I'm probably surely a bit beefier than Boomy is, and I might be taller than him. I think I'm taller than him, but I might not be. So I think he could definitely contend with me size better than, even if it was just like him as a human being, than Sandstorm could. But I'm not really a fighter either. I've never been in a fight in my life. I have like been almost to that brink where I like stand up and puff my chest out when someone has threatened to fight me, and thank God that was enough to stop the fight because I'm a coward. But yeah, I think I could definitely easily take 100 duck-sized Sandstorms. Ducks are not that big.
No, they're not. That's fair.
It's so funny because I'm from Kentucky. Spancakes lives in the AZ.
Arizona.
So I definitely had my hillbilly scrapping days. So I've got some
I was going to guess
stories.
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Pretty close. Pretty damn close.
Just because you sound like a lot like Left Stick Down. A lot like Left Stick Down.
I thought you were going to say hillbilly, but I feel like that's a compliment, so I appreciate it.
Look, brother, I grew up in Texas, and I live in Louisiana now, so.
Texas is like cool hillbillies, though.
Well.
Kentucky's like moonshiners and no teeth.
That's true. That's true.
Different breed of hillbilly.
There were more people in my graduating class than teeth in everyone's heads.
Doesn't surprise me coming out of Kentucky.
Yeah.
Rox, you can close these out. You were apparently in a fighting mood whenever you were writing down questions or something.
Like I was saying, I was listening to Powerwolf, the best power metal band of all time. I was air boxing, writing down questions with my fancy little glass pens. What legend could you take in a fight? I feel like this is a little bit of a redundant question, but you're fighting
Probably
somebody.
None of them.
None of them.
None of them, dude. Are you kidding?
Which one would you be the most scared to fight?
Probably Petra. I probably wouldn't mind getting beat up by Petra.
Listen, she could step on me any day of the week.
Dude, she's ripped.
I've commissioned a few ear lease images in my days as a Brawlhalla fan.
Maybe Sir Roland, just because like he's an old-timey knight. He's wearing armor. He can't move. I can't move that fast, but I could probably move a little bit faster than him. You just push him over, and he's partially going to be like a turtle on his back, dealing with all the armor. So I'm gonna go with Roland.
I'd be more afraid of Core. How do you hurt a rock?
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Wait, did you say who would I want to fight or not want to fight?
Oh, we switched it to who would you least not want to fight?
Oh yeah, I just completely answered the wrong question.
So you could take Sir Roland. We got that.
Yeah, I think I could take Roland. Who do I not want to get beat up by? That's a really good question. Probably anybody with a gun.
I wouldn't want to get beat up by Kaya. I think that would be a little embarrassing. Just the sheer age of it, you know?
Is like just base Kaya, is she also a child? Like I know there's kindergarten Kaya who is like literally a baby child.
She's
like
14 whenever
like
she goes to Valhalla.
Come on, I could beat up a 14-year-old girl. I don't care who she is.
I would be afraid of fighting her just from, honorable standpoint. You know, if I win, I don't gain anything from it, but if I lose, it's embarrassing.
Just make sure you fight her privately, so then like nobody has to see you beat up and or run from a child.
That's fair. That's fair.
Some legendary quotes came out of this podcast.
Rox, I don't think you want to ask the last one. We've already established that there's only one anime fan in this room.
Yeah. The last question was an anime question. But
Is that the one about Vegeta?
Yeah.
I don't really know how to answer that question, but probably Vegeta. Cause
That's all I wanted to hear. To hear.
Yeah.
And Bulma rules. I love Bulma.
Bulma's awesome.
Oh, for sure. All right. Well, that's all the questions we had for you.
Yeah, it wraps it up.
So, you got any questions for us and our less than 100 subscribers on YouTube?
I wasn't prepared. I didn't know there would be a reverse question one. How are you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good.
Fantastic. Thank you for asking.
Where can I listen to this?
YouTube and Spotify. That's the only places we're at right now, right?
Now, Spreaker lets me post on a couple other places. I don't check those places, so it's like Apple Podcasts. Who uses Apple Podcasts? Come on. Spotify and YouTube.
Not me.
That's the two main places to check us out, Spotify and YouTube.
And YouTube because it's a little more interactive. A little bit more fun.
Okay.
But, yeah, we're
when is it going to air? Do you know?
Episode 19 is coming out tomorrow, and I don't know. When do you want episode 20 to come out?
Are you asking me?
Oh, yeah. Either one of you.
You get a pick.
What's your favorite day?
I don't care.
You a Wednesday guy? You a Freaky Friday kind of guy?
I hate every day of the week.
Every day?
Every single day is the worst day. Definitely don't have it come out on Sunday, because that's when I get the Sunday scaries, and I don't like that.
Sunday's the worst, because it'll be 7 p.m. We'll be like, you know what? I could have a nice glass of wine to, get myself to sleep, get those Sunday scaries away. You go to the liquor store, closed early on Sunday. I hate Sundays. Mel doesn't run. What a useless day.
I actually don't know if... I feel like you can probably buy liquor on Sundays in Louisiana, because we just sell it in grocery stores.
Oh, no. You can buy it here, but, like, the liquor store... Like, you could go into, like, a Kroger or a Meijer or a Walmart and get, like, a case of beer or something. But, like, if you want, like...
No, I mean, we sell liquor in grocery stores.
Well, what?
Yeah, like, if you go in and buy, like...
That's
a handle of vodka.
thing.
No, our education is horrible. Our roads are even worse. We're doing real bad with COVID.
You want to talk to me about bad education players?
That's true.
You guys got good food down there in Louisiana, though, so you do have that going for you.
That's about it, brother.
What's your favorite po' boy?
I'm not a big po' boy guy, honestly.
Really?
I wish I was. I'm definitely I'm a big crawfish etouffee guy. Crawfish etouffee guy.
Yeah.
I will suck crawfish dry all day, and not in a weird way, in like a eating food way. Big fan of crawfish. I don't it's hard for me to reconcile eating an entire loaf of French bread.
Yeah.
At one time.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm a huge po' boy fan, but you just can't get a good one out here. So, it's rough out here. It's rough out here in the
I'd
West.
probably go shrimp or crawfish on it.
Shrimp's
That'd probably be the go-to.
I'm a gator fan myself.
Okay.
It's like exotic chicken,
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Rox. I think you had one more thing that you wanted to ask of of Sparky.
I put that in as a.
No, now you've got it.
Should
you
we
committed to it. It's on my document, and I'm ready for you to fully embarrass yourself.
Should we save it for after the intro in case we have to cut it?
After the outro?
What's the call there? You're the boss, man.
No, go ahead. We're not cutting it.
All right, so
don't keep our guests waiting.
Essentially, Sparky, I had the really stupid idea to ask you to shout us out in some Brawlhalla stream that you're casting, and if you do, I would shave my head during this recording.
Okay. Well, but I'm confused because the recording is now.
Yeah,
and like I would go to my bathroom and get clippers. And
he's cashing that check now.
Okay, so
Just tell me to cut this part, Sparky. Just be like, nah, man, let's not do that.
No. I'm just confused on exactly what you want me to do. You want me to shout it out like next time I'm on the desk?
Yeah. That's
easy, of course.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Oh no.
All right. So you're gonna be posting a picture tonight of your head shaved in the Discord and on Twitter, and then you can tag or you can @ Sparky in it too.
Hold on, but before we do this, as much as I would love to add another bald to the ranks, you gotta know that if you're kind of getting to that time, it's not gonna grow back very well. I want you to know that this isn't like I'm quirky, I'm gonna shave my head for a month and then I'll have hair back. I just want you to know that
I'm
this
full
is probably this is a commitment.
It ain't all coming back.
Spancakes, please entertain our guests while I get the clippers and a large towel.
You can do that after the outro.
I don't want to sit here for your haircut.
Yeah, I don't either. You can.
I got gaming to do, brother.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. It is hopefully a good night for gaming.
You can.
All right, I don't have to do it on the recording. I was expecting, our listeners want to hear that nice ASMR.
Here you go. Leave your recording running, and me and Sparky will get out of here. We got bald people things to do that you can join us for after you join.
Or on the YouTube version, I'll just at the end after the outro will be the recording of me shaving my head.
All right.
Yeah. At least add in just like a one big cut.
Yeah.
That would be good. You don't have to do the whole thing, but like one big cut, the first cut.
I'm gonna make you guys look like bad guys. I'm gonna like fake cry. I'm gonna put hot sauce in my eyes.
It's gonna be great.
I'm gonna be oh no, I don't want to do this. All right. Well,
I hit him with the intro. You hit him with the outro, Rax.
Actually, Sparky, if you could do us the honors. We don't do much for the outro other than like, hey, thanks for listening. This has been the Gravity Cancel Podcast. Hit us with it with that caster voice of yours, that golden voice.
But first, when Winter Championship rolls around, you have to remind me.
Oh, you
to
got
hold
it. You
up
got it.
my end of the bargain. Like, do it the night before and the day of, because I will forget. If I do forget,
two tweets that are just my shaved head.
Okay, if I do forget, it's not me being rude and going back on my part of the bargain. It is me forgetting, and I'll do everything in my power to not forget. I'll write notes down. I'll put it on my spreadsheets and everything.
I was about to bring up the spreadsheets. No worries.
Also, please remind me.
I will remind you.
Now that we got through that, thank you very much, everybody out there, for listening to the Gravity Cancel podcast. I had a lovely time. I hope my interviewers had a lovely time. I hope I put on a good show and that everybody out there enjoyed it. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at WhoIsSparky. Make sure to follow the Gravity Cancel podcast on Twitter at
Gravity Cancel Podcast, I think.
That's it.
Actually, I think it's just gravity_cancel. Just follow me at Rockstricity and then at SPancakes.
Yep.
2 S's.
And confirming that it is at gravity_cancel on Twitter. Make sure to follow that. Make sure to watch this wherever your podcasts are served. That includes Spotify. That includes YouTube. That includes Apple Music, I believe. That includes something called Speaker or Sporker or Spunker. I don't... one of those. I already forgot the name. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. The next guest on the next one, oh, boys, you don't even know, man. They told me, it's going to be crazy. You don't even know. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and that's the show.